Recently concluding the first half of Season 4, Haikyuu continues to fill its bleachers with viewers eager to find out what happens next to the endearing characters of Karasuno High and other teams. But one of the best things about this series is that it gives depth to each of its characters. We can identify with their internal struggles and challenges. We see the growth of the protagonists, support characters, and antagonists alike, making them all the more relatable and real. These characters aren't perfect. That would make them much too simple. Just like the moon itself, they all have a light and shadow side. They are beautifully complex and cratered with flaws. Perhaps none more so than our featured character today, Kei Tsukishima. Tsukishima's smugness, dispassion for volleyball, and snark make him the complete antithesis to the eager, enthusiastic, and cheerful Hinata Shoyo. And as Tsukishima's name suggests, he is the moon to Hinata's sun. In typical shonen fashion, he should have easily been turned into a conventional sports anime antagonist of a single story arc to be defeated by our protagonist, or join forces with our main hero, and either way gets shelved or benched, if you will, along with all of the other non-essential characters of the series, never to be seen again. But as we all know, Haikyuu isn't just your average shonen series. So in today's video, we are analyzing the poetic character development of Karasuno's clever middle blocker, and what took him from a one-dimensional antagonistic salty troll to a fully fleshed out and very human character, as well as a truly fitting rival on par with the bright and shiny protagonist Hinata Shoyo. This is Tsukishima Kei sports anime antagonist done right. Welcome to Cosplay-FTW, your #1 source for the latest lowdown on anime and manga news, updates, and analysis. Sit back, relax, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Date ba yo! The salty middle blocker of Karasuno High, Kei Tsukishima, is introduced in the series as a character with a smug demeanor and antagonistic personality and a devil-may-care attitude that people love to hate. He is immediately polarizing, entering the series by messing with the lovable underdog Hinata. Together with Yamaguchi, Tsukishima interrupts Hinata and Kageyama's practice, remarking that the two elementary school kids should be going home. He grates on the nerves of his teammates and opponents alike, always guaranteed to be there to snicker at their follies and prod at their sore spots. It's immediately clear that he doesn't share the passion for volleyball that his fellow teammates do, which is something that Karasuno generally has in spades, and this puts him at odds with most every member on the team. We can see how enamored Hinata has always been with volleyball, and we can see the king of the court Kageyama's dedication to the sport as his sole purpose since elementary school, and alongside Nishinoya's work ethic, Tanaka's spirit, the commitment of the third years Daiichi, Sugawara, and Asai. It seems nearly every member of the Karasuno team lives and breathes volleyball. Even the sideliners, even Tsukushima's own closest friend Yamaguchi gets into it, despite admittedly not being the best at the game. And then there's Tsukishima, with zero enthusiasm for the game whatsoever. In his own words, volleyball is just a game, the club is just a club. And juxtaposed with every other member on the team, you can't help but feel frustration with his character, a resentment towards his cynicism, or even towards Tsukishima's himself. Now, it would be one thing if he was unenthusiastic and bad, but from the start, Tsukishima was established as a clever player with good game sense, and combined with his height, quite fitting for the position of middle blocker of the starting lineup. In contrast, he is quite the realist when it comes to his position, one in which he believes he was assigned solely due to his height. Mind you, middle blocker of the starting line is a big deal. Your coach, your captain, and your teammates all have to have faith in you to believe that you will best fit that position. They have to believe that you are good enough or that you have the innate potential to become good enough for that role. And yet, Tsukishima is adamant that it is only his height that got him there. It's here that we slowly begin to peel back the layers. We start to realize that his subjective opinion about his own potential doesn't quite match up with how the team collectively sees him. Tsukishima's attitude isn't mere indifference. He doesn't really believe in himself, and it's kind of heartbreaking. In the Tokyo Expedition arc, Tsukishima reluctantly joins the blocking and spiking practices between Kuro, Bokuto, and Akashi. We realize here that Tsukishima is entertaining his own worst fear that he's just not good enough, letting this slip when Kuro teases him and accidentally riles him up by suggesting he'll lose to Hinata, to which he replies that he's already below him. Though it was a light jab to fire him up, this was something he couldn't help but to take to heart. Hinata's been a consistent thorn in Tsukishima's side, initially because of their clashing personalities, but seeing Hinata share his position as middle blocker and then proceed to eclipse him in both presence and overall contribution to the team despite his diminutive stature makes him feel utterly worthless in comparison to Hinata. And as much as he likes to pretend it doesn't, this bothers him deeply. Take for example the match between Aoba Josai and Karasuno when Oikawa arrives to pinch serve for their team. Tsukishima is targeted specifically for his weakness in receives, and he grows frustrated after continuously failing to receive Oikawa's serve. When Hinata attempts to stand up for him and give him a speech about being allies, it only makes him more irritated. But as we go deeper, we find that it isn't just frustration at his own performance or that he finds Hinata annoying. In fact, Hinata is literally the last person he'd want to hear advice from, and we begin to see why. Tsukishima's relationship to Hinata parallels all too well the story of his older brother, Akiteru Tsukishima. Through an emotional flashback, we are taken to Tsuki's childhood. He was incredibly close to his older brother who loved volleyball and shared his passion for the sport with Tsuki. Akiteru was the captain and ace of the Amemaru's boys volleyball club in middle school and went on to join the Karasuno volleyball club when he entered high school with the intention of making it to nationals. For all his efforts, Akiteru failed to become a regular player for Karasuno throughout his entire high school career due to the number of more talented players on the team, most notably Hinata's idol, the Little Giant. The then cheerful Tsuki looked up to him so much. Akiteru couldn't bear to tell him the painful truth, so he managed to keep up the charade for the sake of Tsuki for his entire high school career, except for the final game. Oh, the moment Tsuki sees that his brother was not Karasuno's ace, never mind a player on the court, is tragic. We can only imagine the sense of loss as the brother he idolized is exposed as a fraud before his eyes, the sense of betrayal from being lied to all those years. With so much of their bond consisting of their shared love of volleyball and so much of their bonding based in lies, a huge wedge was driven between them. In that moment, can a young boy even recognize their brother? In young Tsukishima's eyes, volleyball, Akiteru's lie, and the Little Giant tore their relationship apart. And on top of this, seeing his older brother's breakdown, Tsukishima realized the danger in clinging too hard to a dream, in caring too much and trying too hard. So he decided to simply detach. He chose to repress his interest in volleyball. He came to the conclusion that he shouldn't put in so much effort like his brother did to avoid being disappointed if he fails. It's easier to not put your heart into something at all rather than to do so and get your heart broken. We can't entirely fault Tsukishima for this ideology. Haven't we all, at some point or another, faced a loss so painful we thought we couldn't get up again? For some of us, maybe none so traumatic, but we all face defeats that leave us wondering why we even bothered to try in the first place if it's just going to end in failure. Why put in the effort when you're unsure of the results? Or when you'll only face loss somewhere later down the line? Isn't this just a waste of time? In this way, everything comes full circle, and we understand how Tsukishima became the uncaring and snarky jerk we were introduced to at the beginning of the series, and at the same time, why this seemingly uncaring jerk decided to impose himself on the volleyball club if he really had so little interest in it. It becomes easy to understand why he directs much of this unprocessed emotion on the unassuming Hinata, the player who now dons the number 10 jersey, claiming to be the next Little Giant and sharing his middle blocker space, and why he feels conflicted about remaining indifferent, all the while not wanting to lose to Hinata. In this way, there is so much more depth, more context to the opposition between Hinata and Tsukishima. Where Hinata, like the sun, is always at 100%, Tsukishima vacillates between his sentiments of passion and indifference towards volleyball, always attending the practices but never giving it his all. And even if not centered in a particular episode, we see this push and pull perpetually playing out in the periphery of our vision, much like the moon. After Kuro's blunder, it's Yamaguchi who comes to the rescue, the embodiment of a true fan who has idolized Tsukishima from the get-go, and being his closest friend and confidant since Akiteru. He's perhaps the only person who could really reach him. Unable to sit quietly on the sidelines any longer, Yamaguchi yells at him because, having watched him all this time, knowing how he feels and seeing the way he purposely sabotages himself, the question at this point becomes, at what moment does apathy turn to mere cowardice? Yamaguchi states it's a matter of pride. Tsukishima's lack of confidence in his own ability to win was what would lead him into an inevitable defeat, because before even trying, he disqualified himself. As much as we hate to see this quality in our shonen anime heroes, this is perhaps one of the most humanizing traits of Tsukishima's character. Who can say they haven't decided something was too hard before trying, or decided it wasn't worth the embarrassment if they failed? It's said that if you haven't confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life, and this is so fitting. With this small revelation, Tsukishima takes baby steps towards working harder and training with other players, like Kuro, even though he still felt deep down that it wouldn't help and that it's all pointless. And yet, this is massive for his development. The Haikyuu series really does a great job at showing the significance of small progressive steps forward. Unlearning our preconceived mindsets, healing from past traumas, and rebuilding broken self-esteem doesn't happen overnight. It takes small victories over time. After returning from training camp, Tsukishima is able to see further reinforcement when he sees that Aikiteru never lost his interest in volleyball. Despite his experiences in high school, he still plays because it was always about having fun and giving it his all. The shared moment that they are able to spend together in peace, much like when they were younger, is where we can see their relationship begin to mend. Seeing that his brother wasn't trapped in his own failure was perhaps a moment of inspiration that allowed Tsuki to move forward too. Despite the chance that he might just be moving forward for the sake of the insistent and hopeful little kid inside him, Tsukishima still chooses to do so. It's in the match against Shiro Torizawa Academy that Tsukishima is pit against the powerful and indomitable Ushijima Wakatoshi. The Tsukishima of earlier seasons would have likely deemed it pointless to keep trying to beat the unbeatable. He would have frustrated easier like in his game against Aoba Josai, but instead of ceding to the possibility of defeat by the seemingly unsurmountable obstacle, he perseveres and is able to focus on his strength of calculation to seize his opportunity. The moment he achieves his figurative and literal breakthrough and lands a near impossible block against the supposedly untouchable Ushijima is in sheer poetry the same one that broke the shackles of his old mindset that held him back for all these years. In doing this, he's able to rediscover his passion for the game. Simultaneously, he seizes his moment to step out of the shadow of not only Hinata's son, but his own self-doubt and to shine, to bask in the fruits of his hard work no longer eclipsed. He finally allows himself to be happy playing volleyball without hiding his enthusiasm for it. Together with the tearing-up viewers, he embraces the moment and allows himself to freely celebrate and cheer along with his teammates in one of the most emotional moments of the series. Now, don't get us wrong, to the end, he's still salty and a jerk, and there's really no excuse for that, but he's a jerk with depth. With this, we also see him become a truly formidable rival for Hinata, able to stand beside him as a player of no lesser importance than this generation's little giant. He's a rival that you can go from disliking to cheering for, one that you can easily see yourself reflected in, the good and the bad. His growth is our growth. Whether he's your favorite character or not, there is no denying his incredible development and the depth he brings to the series because of it. Tsukishima is only one of the characters we've fallen in love with in this ace of a series. There are definitely plenty more whose stories are worth exploring. Tell us in the comments down below which Haikyuu character you would like us to feature next, so we can talk about them some more. Also, don't forget to mention your favorite Tsukishima moments that we might have missed out. We're excited to hear from you. You don't have to wait for more sizzling Haikyuu content. Check out our other video, Haikyuu Top 5 Teams to Date, where we rank your favorite volleyball teams on their well-rounded skill sets and their overall capabilities to bring home the gold. Thanks for watching. This is Cosplay-FTW. Fly!
It's here. It's here. Now that I have it in my possession, this is a Haikyuu mystery box I bought at the beginning of July, and it's here. And it feels like there's a plushie inside. Let's see what's inside. The listing said to share your favorite teams in the notes, so I put down Nekoma and Tokorodani and ended up with so much merch for them. This is literally so soft. Let's get to the small things. There's all these stickers. I got a love phone charm. Oh my gosh, look how cute he is. This next item was a Karasuno lanyard. I freaking love it. This has to be my favorite thing so far. They're Bokuto and Akashi pens. Look how freaking cute. I actually have this Akashi acrylic stand from this set, so I love this. And on to the final item, but it might be the best. It's a Kuro body pillow cover. This is definitely going on the bed that I share with my boyfriend.
Ad time.
Oh no, everyone is going to Steve's Halloween party and I don't have any costume. What am I going to do? Who are you?
I am the cosplay godmother, and I'm going to help you make everyone notice you at that party.
Oh, are you going to use your magic?
Better yet, I'm using Cosplay-FTW.com. They have the best selection of cosplays of all the popular anime, comics, movies, video games, and more. But be wary, my dear, you have to place your order before the midnight by the last day of September.
Or what? Is my cosplay going to turn into a pumpkin?
Don't be silly. Think about shipping. If you order it before October, it will arrive before Halloween without a problem.
Thanks Cosplay-FTW. This Halloween everyone will be looking at me at the party, at my Instagram and TikTok.
And that